Hi there, Stampers. It's Linda Schmidt with Stampin with the Houndz. Thanks for joining me today. In my Fun Fold series, I have been focusing on, for part of July and August, were some variations on a Z-fold. So this one is a little outside that norm. It's still, I kind of consider it a little bit of a Z-fold in a way, but it is going to be the Miura fold, which has been around for several years. And what it is it's a variation of a kind of like origami fold, but it's, you know, it still has that kind of aspects of a Z fold, but now we've got these little arrow parts that we've added to it, and it's a nice card. And what I've added is a back supporting panel so that the card can stand up on display, because otherwise if you didn't have this piece, it wouldn't stand up. It would just lay flat. So I have two different sizes. This one is the larger one, and it uses a 12 by 12 cardstock as the base. And then the other one is a smaller version that uses, you know, your 8.5 by 11. We trim it down a little bit, but it is the same concept where it kind of pops out. And again, we add that little card so that it can stand up on its own on there. So these are some samples that I had done earlier, and I have posted these on my Facebook channel. So if you are new to me, make sure you visit. It is Stampin with the Houndz, and my group page is VIP Stampin with the Houndz. I always like to share things, and I have other people in the group that like to post cards, so it's always a great place to look for ideas. But we're going to be doing a version of this one today, and somewhat version of this one. I had started to record this earlier in the week, and I just had one calamity after another, so we're trying for take 2, and hopefully it'll be a lot better this time around. But I did want to show you really quick some of my other samples with this Miura fold. So this one was using the Magnolia Mood and some of our Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper. And again, this is the 12 by 12 one. And on this one, I took ribbon, and it's basically underneath this circle, and then I wrap it around and tie it to close it. So that's totally optional. You can also do a belly band if you wanted to, or you can just leave it and not do anything. That's kind of what I do most of the time. So this is another one. And again, it's another good way of using up some of your smaller designer series paper pieces that you have. So there's that. And then my other larger one, again, this is using the pumpkins again. And this is that, oh my gosh, it is Scenic Pumpkin Patch, which is new in our online exclusive, so make sure you check that out. And so is this paper, which is the Iconic Celebrations. It's a 6x6 pack, and it has like all the holidays, which is kind of fun. So here is another larger one, and I have the Encircled in Nature frame and some of the little dies, and then the little squirrel from In the Grove. And then I've got a little bit of the new Frosted Forest die cut, and that's another online exclusive new item too. So really fun with the polka dots and the acorns and the little pumpkins. So great fall cards. I'm ready for fall. It's my favorite time of the year. And then another one. Now these are the smaller ones, and so this I had used some retired paper because this is like the first one I did as my practice. But the Frosted Forest die and stamp set is new. So this one, again, is going to be that 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock that we trimmed down. So it's 10.5, basically, in length. And then again, there I've got all my little triangles decorated with the pattern paper. And then we've got that pretty thing. And what's nice about this, too, so if you decide to decorate the center panel, you can always put another piece of cardstock on the back and then have your greeting or sentiment, whatever you want. That can go on the back side too. So this is another one where I kind of wrap the ribbon around it, but they're just, I don't know, it's kind of a fun fold. So, and then here's my last one. It's kind of not fall, but this is using the new Happiest Day, which is in the annual catalog. And then some of our designer series paper that is on sale this month, August 2024, from the annual catalog. So this one has a lot of the new in colors, the Pretty in Pink, this Summer Splash, the Petunia Pop, and I think those are the 3 main colors that I did. So really fun. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with the larger one, which is using the 12 by 12 cardstock. And I know, you know, if you're not necessarily a scrapbooker, you don't always, like some people don't always have the 12 by 12 on hand, but I wanted to show this size to, you know, just to make sure, you know, that you have both ways of doing it if you do have the 12 by 12, because I do like it, the larger size too. Okay. All right, so we are going to get started. So what you'll need for the larger one is, so I've taken my 12 by 12 cardstock and I've cut it in half. So it's 5.5 by 12. And so that 1/2 inch strip that you get left over, you can use that as a belly band if you wanted to. And then to do the card base, the supporting card back, that can be the same color. And that one is going to be 5.5 by 8, and then we'll score these. And then for your panels, what I like to do, so you're getting this is like what I'm calling pattern A, and this is pattern B. And then if you want to do different panels for these, you can get some other paper, but you will, when you cut this off, you will get a triangle that you can use if you wanted to for 2 of these. But then you would need to cut extra ones for these and underneath if you wanted to decorate them. But for the front panels, and again, I like to use 2 different papers. So for my left panel, and these are all going to be the same size. The center, the left, and the right will all be the same size. Sorry, I've got all my little notes so I don't mess these up. So the left, and they're all going to be 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, each one of these. So the left one, I'm going to have my acorns, and then I'm going to have my plaid as my other one. So when we cut them, we're going to be cutting this at an angle so that this piece comes off, and then you can use that for one of your triangles, and then that will go here. And then this piece, you know, this is going to be gone. What we're going to do is we'll flip it upside down, and it'll be attached on this side. And then there's another way of cutting this one that I'll show you. But again, they all start off at the same size, being the 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. So those are all going to be the same. And then, as I said, for my extra triangles, I do like to have, you know, some extra options. And again, we've all got scraps. So this is all from the same pack that I'm using today. And these are going to be, I did 2 of them. These are both the same. They're going to be 1 3/4 by 3 1/2. And we'll cut them diagonally. And there's different ways of doing it. If you want all of them to be the same, then you would cut them, you know, together. Otherwise, if you want them to be different, then you would flip it and cut them, you know, separately and stuff. So we'll kind of go over that when we get to it. And then I think that was it for our pieces. And then the other thing that you will need is a pencil, a ruler, some type of, whether you've got a silicone mat or a foam mat, you just need a little bit of cushion, because when we do our scoring, we're actually just using the stylus. We're not using our paper trimmer because of just some of the way, some of these angles on the arrows that we're scoring. So we'll start first with scoring just the base of our 5.5 by 12 and our supporting back, because these are just straight lines. Because we're basically getting, I'll show you here if I can get out my little template so you guys can see. And I will, I'm putting together a PDF instructions on all of this that I will have available in my VIP group page, Stampin' with the Houndz. So you want to make sure, the VIP Stampin' with the Houndz, that you want to make sure you check that out. I'll hopefully get it uploaded this weekend is my goal. So this is basically what we're going to be doing. We're scoring at 4 inches. We're going to score at 8 inches. Then what we do is we measure down 2 inches from the top left. And then these are what we are going to be scoring on our own with a ruler, basically. And then to get this one, we measure up 2 inches. And again, we're going to score diagonally for that. But that'll just kind of let you look at that for a second, just so you have the idea of what we're doing. so again, like I said, we're going to score at 4 inches and at 8 inches. So my first one that I want to do, I'm going to flip this over because this cardstock, I'm looking at the weight of it, the way, the feel of it. So I just want to make sure so I don't get the sharp, paper creases. All right, so we're going to do 4 inches. And then what I like to do is I like to actually flip it over and rotate it, and then I'll score again at 4. Otherwise, you can just do 4 and 8. I mean, that's the other way of doing it. All right, so that's that one. Then our supporting card back. This one is a piece of cardstock that was 5.5 by 8. We're going to score it in half at 4. And then we'll measure down 2 inches, and we're going to cut off that top corner. And then this then attaches to, so this is our front of our Miura fold. Then this card back is what gets attached to the back. So I did it in a different color just so you can kind of see where it's going. So it's going on the back side of our folded card. But right now we're just going to score this in half at 4. All right, and then that is it with the scoring tool. So then what you want to do for all the other ones that we're going to be measuring, I'm using my little craft silicone mat. This seems to work fairly well. And then I've got my pick tool that has the stylus. So we'll do our Miura fold first. And it's going to be, like I said, it is kind of like a Z-fold. So your first, I'm just looking at where my score lines are. Okay, this first one, I'm just going to fold it in as a valley fold. Okay, and then I'm going this way as a mountain fold. So basically it's like a Z-fold that we're doing. So it's like a tri-fold that we'll have. Okay, so now this is going to be your left side of your Miura fold, and then this will be your right side of the Miura fold. So we're going to make these arrows here, and we're going to make arrows here. So what we're going to do first, so that you've got your mountain fold, we're going to measure down 2 inches from this 4-inch score line. I just need to move this over so I can see. So I'm just using a pencil. We want to go down 2 inches, and we're just going to make a mark. I don't know if you can see that, but this is what I'm doing is I'm measuring down 2 inches, and I'm making a mark right there. Okay. Now we're going to take, and from where that 2-inch mark was, we're going to score diagonally up to that upper left-hand corner. So you want to make sure when you are putting your ruler on here that you're allowing, when you have your scoring tool, and I'm actually going to use the finer ball tip on the scoring tool, you want to make sure that the ball of that is hitting right in that corner. And then that this is going to hit right on that pencil mark. I just want to go over it a couple times so you can see the score line. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to go from the pencil line up to where that 8-inch score line was. And I'm just kind of rotating it just because it makes it a little bit easier for me to line this up and score. So again, I'm on that pencil line, and I'm going to go up to that corner where that 8-inch score line was. Okay. So now we've got our arrow on that top part. Then this one, same thing, we're going to go, now we're working from the bottom, we're going to score up or make a mark up to 2 inches. and then make a mark. And then same thing, we're going to now go from the pencil mark back to that 4-inch score line and score diagonally. And then do the same thing. Now we're going to go from the pencil line down to that lower right hand corner of the card, making sure that you're going to hit right in that corner with the ball tip of your stylus. Okay, then go ahead and erase your pencil marks. All right, so now what we're going to do is, as I said, this was a mountain fold, okay? Now these diagonal ones are going to be mountain folds as well, and then this little section now becomes a valley fold because we want that to dip in on that left-hand side of the card. So you'll first kind of just gently, see where your score lines are, and I just start to kind of mold the the cardstock into place. And then this now, so it was a mountain, we want this to be a valley, so we have to kind of force it the other way. And then I just start tucking this in. Just start folding with my fingers there. All right, so now I'm on the back side here, and the reason I'm doing this is just because I need to force this diagonal fold over a little bit here. Okay, so that is this is that front. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. Remember, we've got that Z-fold. I'm bringing this in, and then this is where I want to make sure this little corner here is folding over more. There we go. So we get that nice, good triangle. Okay, so now we're just going to close the card, and you'll just want to make sure everything is flush on the left-hand side, flush on the bottom, and then take your bone folder and kind of force it into place. Okay, so you got those nice crisp score lines. So everything was lined up. So again, this is that front. Now we're going to pull that out, and there we've got our little dip, and there's our Z-fold. So now on this one, we're now going to make this piece was a valley fold. Now this piece has to become a mountain fold, and then the diagonals become the valley so that they fold in. So now these are going to be valley. So again, I'm just going to start, and this is where you can take sometimes like your ruler and hold it against the cardstock and kind of help you press up against that straight edge as you start to mold this into shape. And then do the same thing on the other side. Just kind of use your ruler to help get that shape going. And then this one becomes that mountain fold. So we just kind of pinch it into shape. Okay. So then when you start to have some of the shape there, this is then where I now fold this in, and I'm just creasing on some of those folds just to help. And then I'm going to bring this one over now, so we're closing it, and then making sure all of that is, I'm going to actually come over this way just to get that fold better. Okay, so this was our bottom. I'm just going back over that, making sure that looks good. All right, so then when you go to close it, so now we've got our little valley, and then we have our mountain. And we've got that Z-fold. Now when you go to close it, everything should all be lined up. That looks good. All right, so that's the Miura fold. So you can see it doesn't stand up. All right, so for the card back, okay, so I'm just going to set this aside for now. That card back is the one that we are attaching to the back, okay, just to give it that extra support. So we've made this, we've already scored it in half, so I'm just going to fold this in half now. I'll take this off just so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So this is kind of where I'm at right now. Okay, so we've got our valley fold. We're going to measure down 2 inches here on the left, and then we're going to make a mark, and then we're going to cut this triangle off. So that upper left hand corner, again, we're going to measure down 2 inches and make a mark, and then we're going to cut from that 2-inch mark up to that 4-inch score line, so that we're cutting off some of this stuff out of the way so I have room to be in the camera. Okay, so there is my 2-inch score, my little tick mark. Now we're going to score diagonally up to that 4-inch score line. So I want to make sure in my paper trimmer that I'm aligning my pencil line to where my score line is. And I'm sorry if I'm getting a little off camera here. Okay, that comes off. All right, so now we've cut off that triangle. Now this piece you can just discard and use for something else. Okay, then you basically, we bring in our card. So this is, again, this was our front of the card. We're going to flip it over, and on this section we take this card back, we flip this over, and then you're going to put adhesive all through here and on this side, and then this attaches to it. And then when we flip it over, oops, sorry, try that again. Oh, got that one going the wrong way. Sorry. Ah, Lord, Linda. Okay, this is our card front. Flip it over. This was how we scored it and cut it. We're going to flip this over, and then it attaches on this left-hand side. Okay, but we'll wait and glue that because I want to go back and decorate our panel. So we're going to flip this back over to our front. Okay, so we're going to work on this front panel. We're going to do this pattern. It's kind of that, I'm going to call it a trapezoid. Me and geometry didn't do well. All right, so I'm going to grab my designer series paper, the 2 pieces that were 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I want my patterns, so depending on which one you want on the left, I'm going to do the acorns over here. So I need to measure down measure down 1 7/8, and then we're going to cut up to the corner here. And then this one, because we can cut them together, once that piece is cut off, this one then we just flip it upside down and it attaches over there. So you can either cut them together or you can cut them separately. I'm actually going to make sure I don't mess this up. I want to cut them. We're going to measure down 1 7/8. So instead of the 2, this is the 1 7/8 that we're measuring down. make a mark, and then we're going to cut from that 1 7/8 mark up to that left-hand corner, and all of this is going to get cut off. So we'll do that. And we can cut these together. Because the other way of doing it, so you'll measure down here like we just did, and then cut this off. And then for this piece, you measure up 1 7/8 and cut that off. So I'm going to show it to you both ways here. So let's go ahead and measure up. This is the second piece. We're going to measure up 1 7/8 from the bottom. I just want to make sure I'm lined up properly with my ruler. Oh, sorry. It's always harder to, there we go. So 1 7/8, make a mark. So this is going to get cut off this way so that it fits in this section. And then this one we're cutting off here so that it fits in this section. So that point is at that top left. So let's go ahead and cut these. So again, there's my 1 7/8. I'm going to put that in the trim, or in the cutting groove of my trimmer, and then the corner is in the other cutting groove. And then I recommend don't start at the corner to cut, because sometimes your blade will kind of tear the paper. So there's our left. Now this triangle, we can use this for one of our, pieces. We do have to trim this. So I'm just going to set this aside for now, because you will use it. And then our other pattern that we measured up from the bottom, 1 7/8. Now we're going to cut from here down to the lower right hand corner. And again, same thing, don't start cutting from the point of the triangle or from the corner of the paper. You want to start on the flatter edge. It just works better that way. All right, so same thing. This piece, we do need to trim it, and we're going to use it, but we're just going to set it aside for now. And then go ahead and erase any pencil lines that you have showing on your pattern paper. And we're going to go ahead and attach these onto our card base. So again, going from our Z-fold, this is our front. I'm going to attach my pattern A, the acorns, to that first panel on the left. Okay, now our right hand side here, this was our other pattern B, where we cut the bottom part off. That's going to be attached then to this far right side. And I will tell you, as you're looking at your pattern paper, really pay attention to, like, if it's, especially like, for example, this one, if you wanted those pumpkins showing, well, they're upside down, they wouldn't fit, so you really need to pay attention to the direction of your paper, and then that will help you decide which way you need to cut, whether it's the top or the bottom. And I would recommend, I know for me, like when I was practicing, I just grabbed like old paper, to do all of my practicing and cutting, to feel comfortable before I made a really, the official card, so you don't waste any of your good paper. So, all right. So now those are the panels on there. Fun. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this middle panel. So again, that was the cardstock that was cut at the same size. It was 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. But now we're going to make it fit. We're going to cut it so that we get this kind of parallel shape when we cut it. So for this, instead of we're going to turn it lengthwise, and we're going to measure over 1 7/8 from the top left. Get this over here. So 1 7/8 and make a mark. That's the top, and then we'll do the same thing on the bottom. Measure over 1 7/8. Okay, now what we're doing is we're going to cut from that 1 7/8 mark down to the lower right hand corner. Then we're going to go on the other side. You're going to cut from that mark up to the upper left hand corner. Okay, and those will be cut diagonally. So we're going to do that next. All right, so there's our 1 7/8, and we're going to put this corner in the tip of the cutting groove of your paper trimmer, and then the mark is right in the middle there. And again, I'm going to start on that flatter edge. I don't want to start cutting on that corner because sometimes the blade kind of fries the paper. Now again, this cardstock, you can use this for something else. Now this one, we're going to take from that pencil mark that was 1 7/8. We're going to cut up to this upper left-hand corner. So make sure those are in the groove of your paper trimmer. And again, I'm starting on that flatter edge, the straight edge, and cutting up. So now again, this piece you can use for something else. So now we've got this shape, and I'm going to erase my pencil lines. Okay, so that was that pattern, or that center one. Then this, then we rotate it, and it's going to fit right in that middle panel. And I'm gonna wait and glue this in later, because I do recommend, if you're going to be doing any type of stamping, do your stamping first and then attach this, because otherwise it tends to get a little bulky when the card's all kind of assembled and stuff. So we're just going to set this aside for now. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to attach that card back that we did. So again, we're going to turn this upside, or flip it over. And then this piece where we had cut this off, we're going to flip this over as well so that it fits. That angle is lined up with this angle. So you're only going to be putting adhesive on your card base here in this section. And in this section. But I tend to do it one at a time. So we're just going to make sure the score lines are somewhat lined up, not overlapping it, because you want to be able to have this has to fold back over it. And then you want to make sure your edge here is flush. Okay, now we're just going to fold this back, and now on this was our card base, only in this section here will we put glue. And then this is where you want to make sure that your edges are lined up. That's all flush, that's flush. Okay, we flip it back over. And then we'll give this all a good crease, because now we've got several layers of cardstock all folded up against each other. So it's a little bit of a thicker card, because you've got all those layers, so I wouldn't go too crazy with your embellishments because you will have a little bit of weight. This will fit into a standard A2 envelope. So now our card will stand, and we've got that little base so that these triangles, now we can decorate those as well as decorating these and these. Okay. All right. So the ones, this is where I need to double check here. This is what I like to do. So because I really confused myself earlier when I was doing this. All right, so this is the one that we cut off, and this is the one we cut off on the other one, okay? So now I don't want to have, now you can, if you want, you can have these both be the same. You know, that's totally fine. I like to have a little bit of a contrast. So these were those other pieces that I had cut, and these we do need to trim just so they fit in there a little bit better. These were 1 3/4 by 3 1/2, and I did 2 of them. And what I want to do is, as I look at this, because ideally what I wanted, because I don't think, yeah, see now how this one, the pumpkins are upside down. So that one has to go, would have to go there, you know, if I wanted to keep it. But I may end up, not using these. Yeah, because that's going to be upside down. Yeah. So I don't think I'm going to. Because I really don't want that underneath. Or I could do it there and there, but then I would be, yeah, I'm not going to use these. But you can, you know, you can use them. But what you would do was you would put them both together. So whatever side you wanted showing. So for example, if you wanted your acorns to match and your plaid to match, you would cut, basically what you would do is you're cutting this. So here's your triangle. You're cutting this straight edge off 1/4 inch so that these triangles fit in here a little bit better. I think I've got a little scrap piece that I had, but yeah, so you would just cut off 1/4 inch on this straighter edge, and then that would fit those in there. But I want to do different patterns. So I'm looking at, so I want my triangle, I want this leaf pattern here, and I would like to have my other one, I could have them be all the same if I wanted. Maybe we'll see how it works out. Let me look here. The leaf and the stripes. Yeah, if I cut them together, yeah, that should work. Okay, so I want my leaf and I want my stripes showing. So I'm going to cut these together, and when I cut them diagonally, because I'm basing it first on this shape, I need to have that diagonal going this way. Okay, so I'm going to cut from that bottom right up to the top left, and I'm cutting both of them together with, I want my one side is up and the other side is showing too. So we're cutting that way. Now here you are going to be starting cutting, you know, point to point, so just be careful. I kind of tend to start my paper cutter in the middle, and then I just work up and then work down so that I'm not catching the points of that paper. Okay. So now we've got this, and this is where you just basically do some puzzle piecing. Whatever's going to fit in these shapes. So I've got this one that can go here, and then this one can go, let's see here. There. So I flipped it upside down. And then then this one that was the green, this one can go over here, and then this one I flip the other way. So now I've got I kind of have it alternating. So if I wanted to use these, because they would be completely different. Yeah, I just don't like that. So I'm wondering if I've got another piece. I've got scraps. I may just cut another piece. Let's do... This is going to be long enough. So 1 3/4 by 3 1/2. Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to cut one more piece. So I wound up not using these just because I didn't like how my pattern was going. So I'm going to cut another one of these, and I will have an extra one left over. But this is going to be 1 3/4 by 3 1/2. Okay, that's 3 1/2 already. Because these are what I'm putting underneath my triangle. So when you look at it, you've got to have that. So I'm going to have, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to do, I want my right triangle here to be on the left. So I'm going to cut this way so that that bottom leaf is going to fit in that part. And again, I'm kind of starting my paper trimmer in the middle of the paper instead of starting it on the edge. So just kind of pay attention, as like I said, as you're doing this, just kind of look at what direction your triangles are going. And so now this one, we have to flip it out the other way. And now we've got the green. So I still have my opposites is kind of what I was, the look I was going for. So let's go ahead and attach all of these in here. And I'm wondering, this one, I must have scratched. Oh, that was my paper clip, I bet. I wonder if I flip this. There we go. I'll swap these out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and attach. We'll do these ones underneath. So we're just going to put all these in here. All right, so we're just going to do our underneath triangles first. Yeah, so basically, like I said, these little pieces, they need to be that 3 1/2 by 1 3/4, and then they're just diagonally cut in half. And you know, if you didn't want to cut these extra ones, then you would just use those 2 that you cut off from your original papers. All right, so now this one is going to go there. So I'm going to turn this over. And we'll do our other leaf. Okay. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and decorate these top 2. So we got our green arrow, the stripes, and then I just make sure, yep, going that way. That one goes up there. So I hope you give this a try. I mean, I know sometimes I'm like, oh, this is like too intimidating, you know, crazy origami. But, you know, once you kind of get the hang of it, it's, you know, it's not that hard of a card. I mean, it just takes a little bit of time, just, you know, getting your measuring and cutting all your pieces. But all right, so there's that. And then I am going to, I've already got some of the stuff already stamped and everything, and just to save on time, because I knew it was going to be a little bit longer video. All right, so my front, I am using the Encircled in Nature. So I've already made my frame, and then I die cut the other shape that is in there for the center with Mossy Meadow. And I don't know if you can kind of see it, I used our new, so it's upcoming in our holiday mini catalog that will be available next month, September 2024. Check out this folder. It's massive. This is the birch embossing folder, but it's huge. I mean, it's like a half a sheet of cardstock could fit in there. It's crazy. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that these were so big. So some of our folders are going to be this larger size, but this is that birch wood that'll be available. So kind of fun. You can definitely now use a bigger piece of paper and cut more things all at the same time. And then the other one, the stamp set I'm using was, this is an online exclusive. So this is Frosted Forest. You get the photopolymer stamp set. There's dies that go with it. And there are masks or stencils. So all of this can be a bundle, or you can buy them separately too. But that is what I did. So there's 3 stencils for the, I don't want to call it, some type of tree. So what I did is I did on the larger one. So you start off, there's number 1, and I used my blending brush. So I stamped it first, and then I stamped my image, and then I laid this over it, and then I did my blending brushes with pecan pie. And then you go on to the next mask, and it's marked number 2, and I did pumpkin pie for all of that. And you just line these up so that you've got a little notch here. And then the third one, there's a little number 3, that then I did in Cajun Craze. And that's how you get that multicolored look, which is kind of nice, which is kind of fun. And then the other stencil does the pine tree. And again, there's 3 of them for that as well, to do all layering. So the stencils are fun because, you know, besides the blending brushes, you can use your mixed media. You know, you can do like sprays, you can do the texture paste, you know, I mean, there's tons of stuff you can use with the stencils. They're kind of fun. All right, so we will go ahead and get this somewhat assembled, and then I think I'll probably just make this a birthday card eventually. So, all right, so let's go ahead and adhere this to the front of the card. And I had this little post-it note just to hold these together so that they didn't lose their spots. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the card front, and I'm going to go like that. So just to hold these together while I'm putzing, I'm just going to tape them like that. And then we'll glue this on. Yeah, this summer went by really fast, and I feel like I didn't do anything. I don't know, between work and my traveling and too much. But I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for pumpkin spice lattes and you name it. Fall colors. It's my favorite time of year. All right, so all of that gets glued on there. Okay, then I had already die cut my tree, and on this one I'm thinking, I should fit that. Okay, I'll have it fit there that way. But then I had grabbed some of these too from the Encircled in Nature. Yeah, I think we do something like that. That'll work. We'll put these down first. And this paper, this is that oxidized, I think it's like oxidized copper. It's another one of our online exclusives paper. It's really, really pretty. It's got all this like one copper look, and then the other one is like a Lost Lagoon and coppery mixed together, which is really pretty. But it's a very, I mean, it's a fine, it's a thinner specialty paper. that there, then this can just start right about there. I just think that copper is so pretty. And then let's go ahead and glue our tree down. And the tree, I did stamp it on our basic beige, which is one of our new neutral colors. It's like one of my new go-to papers, besides like, you know, very vanilla and the basic white. I do like this basic beige. Okay, and then this other little piece, we'll glue this down. Tuck that under. Okay, so that is my front of my card. And then I think I will add, if I still have them out. Gotta have some gems. Well, I can't find the ones I'm looking for, so we'll just use these copper ones, I think. Can't find the ones I really want. Alright, so these are some of our flat, the sequins, which I always like because they don't add any bulk to the card. And I think these, I think I may do this darker brown. Whoops. And then let's add another one down here. And then what I was going to do for here, so I took from the Frosted Forest. So this was, I took a piece because I knew it wasn't going to all fit. Yeah, because I actually had it cut for another card. So, but I'm just going to cut diagonally. So what I'm looking at is I want this point to be flush with where that paper is. So I'm just making, I know I'm going to cut from this corner down to, see where the end of this designer series paper is? Oops, sorry. So I'm having, here's the method to my madness. This is lined up with the edge of that pattern paper. And then I want to cut diagonally. So I'm going to need to make sure that I'm cutting down to here so that this gets cut off diagonally. So same thing, we're going to put this in, line up that pencil mark to that corner. Because I think I had this one originally cut for the smaller version of the card. But now this, see how now it matches up with that angle. So we can go ahead and put all of this inside. Yeah, I'm always like, you know, people are always like, oh, I always have so many flower sets. And for me, it's how many tree sets? Tree and mountain. Those are like my favorite. I tend to have quite a few. All right, and I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit. You can actually use like a sponge, but I'm just using my finger, and then I just wipe it off. And that just helps eliminate, and then just make sure you wipe off your work area. Get rid of that glue. And then we will line this up, and I'm just going to do it so that it is, let's see, do I want the plaid? I think I will kind of have this so you can kind of see the plaid showing. So I've got that border. That works pretty good. We'll go with it. Okay. All right, so there's our front, and there's that inside, and then we do have to add, let's add our, we need a little deer, I'm thinking. You can throw in a deer here, and I also think we should probably add, because if this is closed, do I want, oh yeah, here's the ones I was gonna possibly use. That's what I was gonna do. Oh well. Let's see. Just looking at all my little animals in here. We could do some pumpkins too, but oh well. I think I will just do, we'll just do our two little deer. I was just thinking if we could add some color. I think those are too short. And nah. Yeah, not gonna work. We'll just do our deer. Let's put both of them little in there, the little ones in there. And these are from Grassy Grove. This is another really good set, the little deer. Yeah, Grassy Grove and In the Grove are, they coordinate together really well. And this little deer, this is actually the copper clay, the cardstock. So this is one of our in colors. So it's a little bit lighter than Cajun Craze. Okay. And then we want to get our middle piece. Now, I will say on this middle piece, you want to make sure that when you go to stamp, because this is, you know, at an angle, you don't want to position your stamp so that it's that way. You actually got to think of it as you're stamping this way. So I always tend to look at it like, okay, I just need to make sure I'm, looking at this thing straight. And I'm just going to do this as a birthday card, and we're going to use that frosted forest because there is a birthday saying in here. So we'll do the birthday wishes for a day as great as you. So I'm going to stamp this. And I'm also going to do some trees from that set as well in this corner. Okay, so I'm going to show you the method to my madness here, okay? So knowing that this is going to be straight, I'm putting it on, I'm using my grid so that I know, you know, this is going to be the straight part. And then when I go to put my saying, I need to be going so that I'm basically lining up going this way, okay? Because you don't want to stamp it this way, because then when you put it in the card, it ends up, you know, your image kind of looks crooked. So if you want it to be more straight, you know, you would stamp it like this versus this way, okay? So let's go ahead and we'll do this in the Cajun Craze. Keeping this on that angle, and then knowing we're going to be stamping this way instead of at an angle. And then I'm going to do some of those pine trees from this Frosted Forest stamp set. We'll do that in Mossy Meadow. And these I'm just going to put in the corner. And I'll just kind of lower this one now, so I'm not re-inking, just to give it some dimension. And then I think we'll do, let's see here. Oops, I tilted a little bit. Wipe this up so that we don't get ink on our card. And then here I could throw in one of these from the Frosted Forest just to give it a, bring in that copper. Yeah, I can do that. Perfect. All right. So we'll go ahead and attach this then to the inside panel. And then we'll just add our little branch. Just trying to think which way I want it going. You kind of have it coming down. I know, you're like, Linda, just finish the card. I don't know, I'm all about the details. It makes my heart happy. All right, so that is the larger size of the Miura fold using the Frosted Forest and some of that Iconic Celebrations Designer Series paper. Fun! Love it. Super cute. All right, so I'm going to break this up into two parts because I do want to show you the smaller version with it. So what I'll do is, so that it's not like a 2-hour a video, I will do a part 2 that will show you how to make the smaller version. So stay tuned. Make sure you check out the part 2 where I show you how to do the smaller size. And then as always, thanks again for watching and joining me, and make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and I will stamp again with you soon. Thanks again. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great and creative day.